حياكم to another episode of Mr. Mawater. Infiniti in the last period feels like they've been going on hibernation mode. They've been running on autopilot. They haven't been producing anything that's out of the box or extraordinary. Everything has been typical and known. They have been repeating technologies, using existing features, and they haven't really done much until the arrival of this Infiniti QX60. This is their new trendsetter. It's the most advanced and luxurious SUV from this brand. This is the vehicle where all other vehicles from this brand will start taking inspiration and borrowing design cues and features. So today we're here to find out, has Infiniti really upped their game with the QX60 or not? The front end, we can't deny that it's very striking and bold, and it has a lot of presence on the road. You can see the typical Infiniti grille, which is inspired by sea waves, and you can see their headlights also, which has the piano pattern. It's split into three pieces and they call it the piano design. But look at this detail inside the headlights. You can see this pattern, which is inspired by Japanese origami and Japanese pattern and the kimono that they wear. Now, I specifically like how those headlights with the sleek and thin design intersect the front grille. The chrome is split into two units and this headlight splits it in the middle. We can also see in the bottom portion how you have the Infiniti lettering debossed in the chrome. This same treatment is repeated on the doors. You can see this chrome piece and it has the same Infiniti lettering over here. Now, this chrome is available on this package. This trim is the highest trim, the autograph, and it comes in chrome. The lower packages or lower trims come in like body color plastic. Now, you can see this butter knife detail. It's repeated on the sides. You can see the chrome piece. It no longer does this funny kink like the older generation. It's now split into two pieces, the upper portion and lower portion. And you have the same butter knife treatment over here. On the autograph trim, you also get dual tone colors. Since this is finished in also mineral black, you will not notice the color differences. However, if you had like a lighter color, you will notice how it's finished in two different colors. It's a very nice design. I think Infiniti has done a very nice job, and I really like how the rear end of the car looks with this simple, modern, yet prominent design. They also call those the piano lights because they are split into three segments. The rear end of the car, you have a few ways to access the storage space. You have the new Infiniti key. You also have a hidden button in the central trim piece. And the third way, which is the hands-free technique. You have plenty of storage space and you have electric controls for the third row of seats. And you also have some additional storage underneath. I like how this sticks in place where you place it. What I'm not really a fan of, however, in the design are first the tail lights. I wish they were sequential. Instead, they just illuminate in a simple manner. And those exhaust wannabes, they're in chrome for some reason, which is very strong, yet they are closed off and the actual exhaust tips are underneath the car. I wish they were like in body color or more hidden. I think the newer or the latest models of the QX60 are now coming in black, which hides it a bit. Now, notice those tips or those fake tips. Those same trim pieces are repeated underneath the front bumper of the car. I think this is Infiniti's way of telling us, listen, those are not meant to be exhaust tips. They are just design elements, so accept them. In the interior, since this is the autograph trim, you will see you have autograph labels on the seats. And the stitching is actually different. It's unlike the stitching I've seen on any car before. The quilting is different and you can see some additional stitches running across the quilts. And since this is the autograph, we have captain seats where you have this central console. This is a storage place and you have cup holders. But if you need more access or easier circulation, you can easily take it off. And now you have easier access to the rear. Let me move my seat forward to make more room for myself in the back. I can sit comfortably here, but I wonder why they haven't repeated this stitching and quilting on the back seats. The seats are very plain. It's like there's some coast cutting here in the rear. The seats are a bit upright. I think I can recline them a bit. Yes, I can get them back, but there's no central armrest. We do get USB charging ports. We do get separate AC vents, and exiting the rear space is just by a click of a button. And now you have plenty of room to leave the car. Now the front seats, this is where you get the most luxury in the car. You have the same stitching, quilting, the autograph lettering on the seats. Beautiful seats really, and especially with those white piping. And the entire central console is finished in the same saddle brown, which is very nice. What's even nicer is that they carried on this stitching over onto the dashboard. Very nice attention to detail. And look at the open pore wood. It feels very luxurious in the front. And you can actually feel some luxury in the way things operate. Like look how the armrest opens slowly. This is what differentiates the QX60 from its sibling, the Nissan Pathfinder. But what Infiniti is mostly proud of in the QX60 is the massaging seats, not just for the driver, even for the passenger. Now we have to first switch on the car. This is where the button is. And it's actually a decent massage. And you can select from the screen which massage feature you want. There are a few different settings and types of massage, and you can control the speed and intensity. When you move your seats, you can see how it shows the arrows on the screen. Now these figures and this diagram appears only after you have moved the seat. So you can't really tell what you're pressing on until you have moved it and felt the movement. So what's the point of having the illustration on the screen? The steering is nice. They have pedals over here. It's a flat bottom. It looks sporty. I just wish they had some stitching on those lines on the center. Now, usually I'm not a fan of touch controls, but the controls over here are pleasant to use. The buttons are very clear. They are very well spread out, and they don't work when you just touch them. Nothing happens. You have to give it like a solid push for the button to engage. Listen to the sound it makes. It gives you haptic feedback. And there's like a clean button to probably clean up the air entering the car. I wonder if you unclick this, will dirty air enter? I also like how they kept the hazard button as a physical button. This is not touch. It's the only button that's not touch. And it works like a conventional button. Now it has cooled seats on the front. Only on the front two seats. We don't have cooled seats in the back. This is where we have the wireless charger, USB ports, and this is the 9-speed gearbox. Look how the lever moves. It slides forwards and backwards. And we still have physical controls for the screen in case you're not a fan of touchscreen. We do have a button for the cameras. You get 360 view, bird's eye view, backward camera, front facing camera. You have cameras all around. Resolution is decent, and you have rear view camera and the central mirror. Overall, the screens and the interface are very similar to what we've seen on the Nissan Pathfinder. Infiniti differentiates that a bit by adding their car picture, by adding their own different font, and of course you have the Infiniti logo on the gauges. Remember the butter knife details we saw on the exterior of the car? The same treatment is found over here on the speakers. You can see the chrome piece, how it extends upwards, and you have the Bose writing. It's really nice how it has like a concavity to it, and the speakers go inwards. The upper portion of the door is all like nice fancy materials and leathers and stitching. However, the lower portion is still like dry plastic. The A-pillar speakers are also styled in the same way, and the sound system does sound good, superior to many other Japanese brands. Let me now show you a few of the unconventional features I found here on the Infiniti QX60. First of all, the seat belts. They operate electrically. As soon as you click it in place, you will see how it tightens and it holds you in position. The same applies when you release. It also goes back electrically. The way the AC vents operate is also unconventional. You have this design line running across the entire dashboard, and in order to maintain it in place and not ruin the design, the vents are controlled from underneath. You have this like arm-like piece sticking out where you control it without changing the way this line is placed. Some details I have found on the exterior of the car is those Infiniti logos hidden in the lights. You can see a very subtle logo placed over here. The way the front hood operates is also different. Instead of having the latch and the lock in the same place, they have separated them. They are placed further apart in order to have more support in the front hood. I faced some cars where when you're driving, you feel the front hood has some air going through and it actually moves. It feels unsafe. We have the same Infiniti logo hidden in the tail lights. And something I like in the rear boot lid is the way you can adjust it. If for any reason, let's say you're short, you can't reach it, you can actually set it up from here. You can select your position. This is your desired height. Just hold for a while. You will hear 2 beeps. And the second one. Now this is the new height. Once you close it and open it again, it's not gonna open completely. It's gonna stop where you set it up to stop. Driving the QX60. I've driven before the Nissan Pathfinder. They do share the same platform, the same engine. This is just a more luxurious version of it. Now visibility is very good, suspension is very good, it's a very well insulated cabin and it's comfortable on the road. It absorbs shocks really well and you don't get much disturbance from the outside. Now this is an all-wheel drive car, yet it's based on a front-wheel drive platform. It does rely more on the front axle to deliver its power. You have a screen where you can see where power is coming from, the distribution between the front and the rear, and most of the times the screen is gonna show you front torque. Now even though the gauges are digital, they don't really change with the drive modes, even when you go into sport. I would have liked to see like more red or more colors with the sports mode, but it doesn't change. The only way you can adjust it is from the steering wheel, change display view, and you can see how it went into this different display. In terms of engine, like we said, this is the same 3.5 liter NA V6 used on the Nissan Pathfinder. It has a little bit more power on the QX60. Power output is 295 horsepower, a little bit more than the Nissan Pathfinder, and torque is 350 Newton meters of torque. On sports mode, it's not bad, it's not fast, but the biggest difference or advantage from the previous generation is the gearbox. Now we have the ZF 9-speed, and it's much more responsive and engaging to drive and to interact with. Now the car has driver assist systems. It does help you, it does assist you, it does keep you in lane, but it's not the most intelligent or the smartest system I've used. Sometimes you feel it's fighting you rather than assisting you. When there's traffic, I tend to end up switching off the lane assist and just using the cruise control without the lane intervention. Let me show you how fast the car accelerates from 0 to 100. In the UAE, this QX60 and the autograph trim, it could reach up to 300,000 dirhams. That's around $80,000. Do you think it's worth it? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you in future episodes.